Tomorrow is the day that everybody has been anticipating. At this point, everyone should know exactly what the difference is between these two candidates, but if you don't, we will do a very basic recap, starting with the exact thing that people care about the absolute most, and that's inflation. Trump said that he would reduce regulations put on businesses, which would mean that they will not have to spend as much money to get themselves compliant, while the rest of the world has no such rule. On the other hand, Harris wants to impose price regulations, also known as price controls, which have been used in communistic countries before and did not end well. Moving on to crime and violence. 53% of Americans think that this is a problem. It should be higher in my opinion. Trump says that this will be a very basic thing, and this is law and order. This will make sure that cops have the power to enforce laws already on the books, while Kamala Harris bailed people out that were arrested for rioting out of Minneapolis and bailed them out of jail. She also showed time and time again that she isn't with the police force. She instead is in the criminals that got on the bad side of the police force. Next up, hunger and homelessness. These are the things that Americans care about, 52% to be exact. Trump says that there will be a certain place where these people can go and get the help that they need to get them off of the addiction and get them into the spot that they can actually get back onto their feet and back into the polite society again. While Kamala Harris wants to try the same exact approach that Democrats have been doing and failing at for decades, which is taking money and giving it straight to homeless people with no questions asked, while letting them sleep on the sidewalks of neighborhoods and making the people who live there walk around them and into the street, which is dangerous. They will also get mad at businesses for covering the sidewalks next to their business to try to make sure that it would look better and to prevent homeless people from just sleeping outside of businesses, which will make people not want to go to those businesses, which makes them shut down, which is ultimately what happened in California. In addition, the economy. 52% of Americans see this as a problem. Trump is a businessman, so he knows exactly what to do. Some of his policies include reducing limitations placed on businesses, reducing the corporate tax for things made in America, getting rid of income tax and tax on tips, while at the same exact time ending tax on Social Security, which would give people more of their own money to spend. Turning our heads to Kamala, she said that she will provide a new business with non-payable loan in the term of tax credits to help them start up. The only problem is that you have to actually make money to use the tax credit in the very first place, which most businesses aren't even going to use that much money in tax credits on their very first year of operation. She also wants to impose a higher capital gain tax, which would mean that the everyday person who is trading stocks or holding on to them and selling will now pay 28% instead of 21%. She will also higher the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%, which would mean that all of the mom and pop shops, which are not millionaires by the way, will have to raise their prices to afford that higher tax rate, along with any other businesses, mind you, which would make the economy weaker by making sure that people really cannot afford their groceries even more than they can't even afford right now. Subsequently, the availability and the affordability of healthcare, which 51% of Americans think is a major concern. Trump's general idea of this is to privatize it, which has been shown to lower the cost generally. This would force hospitals and doctors' offices to actually pay a fair price instead of just going with the public supplier and having the public supplier, which is like Mass Health or any other publicly funded healthcare system, actually pay whatever they say that is the cost of said surgery. What does Kamala Harris want to do? Well, she agrees with the Bernie Sanders approach, which everyone has to pay into a system, and then in return, everyone gets free healthcare, even though you already prepaid for it through taxes. Finally, federal spending in the budget deficit, which 51% of Americans agree is a concern. Again, more should care, but that's just me. Starting with Trump, he said that he would get Elon Musk to head an organization called the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE. If implemented, DOGE could start a shift in how the federal government operates, sweeping regulations and bureaucracy and streamlined processes to encourage technical innovation. He also said that every single thing that the government spends its money on will be overhauled and checked, and it will be made public to make sure that no more waste is actually happening within our very government. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris, on the other hand, wants to just give free money away. She says that she's going to give $25,000 to everyone that is a first-time homebuyer, which will not only inflate the housing market, but will also add a major deficit to the budget. Let's find out exactly how much though. According to rough calculations, 35% of Americans have never bought a home. Knowing how many Americans there will be about 117,562,000 1,633 people that will receive their proposed $25,000, which would add, are you ready? $2,939,065,825,000 at the end of it. And that's the bare minimum. There are so many things that Americans are sick and tired of, but we do not have time to go through all of them. As a bonus, I'll include what we have been talking about for a long time here, and that is legal immigration. Legal immigration, on the other hand, is a whole nother conversation, but we're going to be focusing on just illegal immigration. Trump wants to impose a policy that will make sure everyone who is in the United States belongs in the United States. He will make sure that the first time an illegal immigrant breaks our laws and gets arrested, they will immediately get deported. This includes the first law that they broke as soon as they got into this very country, and that is coming through this country illegally. If you come in the right way, you will have nothing to worry about, especially when these illegal immigrants are killing or potentially raping our daughters, sons, mothers, or dads. Meanwhile, looking at Kamala Harris, she has been in charge of the border for the last 3 years, and under her rule, we have only seen the problem get worse and worse with every single year that goes by. Who do you trust to fix all of these problems? I trust Donald J. Trump, which will be my vote tomorrow, and should be everybody's vote to save this great country.